Sunshine Dine and Grill sat on a noisy corner of Lagos Island, its metal fans pushing warm air over rows of plastic chairs. The smell of pepper soup mixed with the engine smoke outside. By 6 a.m., Hannah Joseph was already wiping tables, her green apron crisp, her smile brighter than the yellow-painted walls. "Good morning, Mama Ade," she greeted an elderly woman who leaned on a cane. "Mornin', my child," Mama Ade replied, easing herself into a seat. "Your kindness keeps me young." Hannah laughed softly. "One bowl of soft yam porridge coming up. No pepper, right?" "You remember everything," the old woman said, eyes shining. While the cook clanged pots in the back, Hannah slipped her phone from her pocket and transferred 2,000 naira to her mother's clinic account. "Hold on, Mama," she texted. "Medicine will reach you soon." A low whistle sounded behind her. "Sweet Hannah, always saving the world," said Mr. Charles Morrison, the assistant supervisor. He wore a shirt too tight across his stomach and a grin too loose with confidence. Hannah straightened. "Good morning, sir. Do you need the sales book?" "Not yet." Charles rested an elbow on the counter, lowering his voice. "But I do need a friendly face at lunch. Eat with me today." She shook her head politely. "Thank you, but I bring Gary from home." "Come on," he pressed, eyes flicking to her worn shoes. "My treat. You deserve better than dry cassava." Hannah's tone stayed friendly but firm. "Dry cassava fed me through university. I'm grateful for it." Charles's smile thinned. "Suit yourself," he muttered, turning away. Late morning, a mother arrived with a crying toddler. The child's biscuit had fallen into the gutter outside. Hannah crouched, dabbed the boy's tears with a napkin, and slipped him a fresh biscuit from her own bag. "Thank you," the mother whispered. Charles watched from the doorway, arms folded. The cook, a stout man named Kola, tapped him. "She's gold, that girl." Charles grunted. Gold that doesn't know its value. After the lunch rush, Hannah counted plates beside the sink. Charles appeared again, placing a cold soda near her elbow. "I changed my mind," he said. "Share a drink, at least." Hannah rinsed her hands and wiped them dry. "I appreciate it, sir, but I only drink water during shifts." His voice hardened. "You keep saying no. Are you too good for me?" She met his gaze calmly. "Respectfully, sir, you're a married man. I want peace, not trouble." He stepped closer, but Kola called, "Charles, supplier is waiting." Charles spun on his heel, face tight, and stomped toward the storeroom. That evening, as chairs were stacked and lights dimmed, Charles lingered by the door, watching Hannah lock the cash drawer. "Remember," he said, forcing a smile, "a girl who refuses gifts may one day need favors." Hannah slipped her earnings into a small envelope labeled Mama's Medicine, then looked up. A favor earned by silence is never worth its price. "Good night, sir." She walked into the humid night, unaware that Charles's rejected pride was already curdling into bitterness, setting the stage for storms yet to come. Hannah stepped out of Sunshine Dine and Grill long after the last customer had gone. The night sky rumbled with distant thunder, and neon lights smeared across puddles on the street. She hugged her thin sweater tighter and hurried toward the bus stop, hoping to catch the final Danfo back to her one-room apartment in Suralere. Halfway there, the street lamp beside the kiosk flickered out. Rain began to fall, first a whisper, then a fast drumming on corrugated roofs. Hannah ducked under an awning, waiting for the downpour to ease. That was when she heard it, a soft, shaky sob. "Hello," she called, peering into the shadows. "Is someone there?" The crying grew louder. Hannah's eyes adjusted, and she saw a tiny figure huddled behind a stack of empty crates. A little girl, maybe 5 years old, soaked to the skin, no shoes, knees hugged to her chest. Hannah crouched, speaking gently. "My name is Hannah. Are you hurt?" The child lifted her head. Wet curls stuck to her cheeks. Her eyes were wide as street cats at night. She tried to speak, but the words tangled. "Mommy, Daddy," was all she managed before another sob escaped. Hannah's heart clenched. "It's okay. I'm here." She slipped off her own sweater, already damp, and wrapped it around the girl's trembling shoulders. "What's your name?" "Lucy," the child whispered, voice brittle as broken glass. "Lucy, can you tell me where you live?" Lucy shook her head. "Don't know. Rainwater dripped from her chin. Bus, then dark, then mommy gone. Lightning flashed, revealing that Lucy's feet were bare and scraped. Hannah glanced up and down the empty road. No late-night shopkeepers, no passers-by, no patrol officers. Only the restless hum of generators and the smell of wet earth. She removed her phone, dialed emergency services, and waited. After 6 rings, the line cut off. Hannah eyed the sky. Rain still poured. Standing there would help no one. "Lucy, would you like to come home with me tonight? We'll eat, stay warm, then find your parents in the morning." The child hesitated, then nodded, trusting the stranger who spoke with kindness. A tiny refuge. Hannah flagged down an Okada, a rider who slowed only because he recognized her from the eatery. "Sister Hannah, rain no small oo," he shouted over the engine. "Please, Oga Tund, take us to Tower Street. Little girl is lost." Tund glanced at Lucy shivering in Hannah's arms, then back at the storm overhead. "For you I go do am." He tossed a spare nylon sheet to cover them and revved the bike. They arrived at a cramped compound. Peeling paint, flickering bulbs, thin concrete walls that trapped heat by day and let dampness seep in by night. Inside her room, only a single mattress, a plastic table, and a shelf of battered books. Hannah grabbed a towel. "Here, Lucy, let's get you dry." She found her only spare t-shirt, far too large for the child. She knotted it at Lucy's waist and produced a faded pink wrapper to serve as a skirt. "Not perfect," she said, "but it's warm." Lucy studied the small space, then whispered, "Where's your mommy?" Hannah's smile wavered. "Mama lives in the village. I'm working here, sending money, so she can buy medicine." She tried to keep her voice light. "Tonight, we're a team, and teams need food." She set a pot on the single-burner stove, emptying the last portion of Gary and sprinkling brown sugar on top. When it thickened, she ladled it into 2 chipped bowls. Lucy tasted a spoonful, eyes lighting up. "Sweet," Hannah laughed. "Grandma taught me. A spoon of sugar makes even Gary feel like a feast." Afterwards, Hannah laid the child on her mattress, tucking a thin blanket up to Lucy's chin. She sat on the floor beside her. "Sleep, okay? Tomorrow we'll fix everything." Lucy reached out a small hand. Hannah clasped it until the girl's breathing slowed into soft whistles. Only then did she permit herself to worry. About money for transport, about missing work if the search took long, about Charles and his new sour mood. Still, she whispered a prayer and drifted into uneasy sleep on the cold floor. The search begins. Morning sunlight crept through the torn curtain. Hannah's back ached from the hard floor, but Lucy was already awake, kneeling by the window, awed by a pigeon on the sill. "Good morning, Captain Lucy," Hannah teased, stretching. "Ready for adventure?" Lucy nodded, shy grin returning. Hannah borrowed her neighbor's pink plastic sandals, 2 sizes too big, but better than bare feet, and dressed Lucy in a dried sweater and wrapper. They reached the local police station at 9 a.m. The reception area smelled of stale coffee and furniture polish. 2 officers lounged behind a desk, scrolling their phones. Hannah approached. "Good morning, sir. Please, I found this child last night by the bus stop. She's lost. I want to file a missing child report." An overweight sergeant raised one eyebrow. "Madam, come back later. We're busy." She pointed at the almost empty lobby. "I don't mind waiting. The child is frightened." The second officer sighed. "Do you have proof that she's missing? Any picture? Birth certificate? She's 5 years old and doesn't remember her address. Look at her feet, cut and swollen. She needs help finding her family." The sergeant clicked his tongue. "OGA Inspector is at a briefing. Unit that handles minors comes on Monday. Today is Friday. Come back next week." Hannah's mouth fell open. "Next week? That's 4 days away. Anything could happen to her parents in 4 days." "Madam, we have armed robbery cases, missing cars, political rallies," he shrugged. "One small girl? Add her name to the list." Lucy tugged Hannah's sleeve. "Hannah, I want mommy." "I know, sweetie." Hannah knelt to wipe a tear from Lucy's cheek and turned back to the officers. "At least take her details. If parents call, you can contact me." The younger officer shook his head. "We have no form left. Printer no work." Hannah's voice trembled but didn't break. "Then please write it in your notebook." Her name is Lucy. Madam, the sergeant barked, stop disturbing us. We said come back next week. Other citizens in line looked away, embarrassed but silent. Hannah realized arguing further would only frighten Lucy more. She swallowed her frustration, wrote her phone number on an old receipt, and slid it across the desk. If any parent reports a missing girl, call me. Please. The sergeant shoved the receipt aside without glancing at it. Outside, Hannah exhaled shaky breath. Lucy clung to her hand. The sun was already punishing, and buses roared past, horns blaring. Where now? Lucy asked, voice barely above traffic. Hannah forced a smile. We won't give up. First, breakfast. They ducked into a roadside stall where a woman fried akara. Hannah counted coins, just enough for 2 balls of bean cake and a small sachet of water. She handed half to Lucy, who munched quietly. Is police angry? Lucy mumbled through crumbs. Police are just tired, Hannah said, patting the girl's back. And maybe careless, she thought, but I won't let their carelessness be the end of you. A plan from kindness. Back on the main road, Hannah recalled a poster she'd once seen. Community Radio 98.7. Missing person announcements every hour. Maybe they would listen. But bus fare to the station meant losing a day's wages, and Charles was already itching for a reason to punish her. She knelt to Lucy's height. I have to work this afternoon, but I promise I'll continue searching every spare minute. Lucy's lower lip quivered. Don't leave me. Hannah's chest tightened. I won't leave. You'll stay in the eatery office where I can see you, all right? Lucy nodded uncertainly. They walked the noisy streets back to Sunshine Dine and Grill. Hannah rehearsed what to tell her boss, that she had no babysitter, that the child was lost, and the police refused help. She prayed Mr. Okonkwo, the owner, would understand. But as they neared the restaurant, Hannah spotted Charles leaning by the entrance, arms folded, watching them approach. His lips curved in the same thin line she'd seen after she refused his soda. She felt a ripple of unease. Still, she squared her shoulders and squeezed Lucy's hand. One problem at a time, she scolded herself. First, keep this child safe. The rest will follow. As they stepped inside, rain clouds gathered again in the sky, dark, restless, and full of untold stories yet to break. Morning light spilled across Sunshine Dine and Grill as Hannah unlocked the back door. Lucy, wrapped in a child-sized raincoat Hannah had borrowed from a neighbor, clutched a worn teddy bear. Hannah knelt. Remember our secret clubhouse? Lucy nodded. The room with the big flower bags. Good girl. Stay quiet. I'll come every break. Inside the cramped storage room, Hannah spread a small mat, a coloring book, and crackers in a plastic bowl. She placed her water bottle beside them. Lucy whispered, Will Mommy find me today? We're trying, sweetie. Eat and draw. I'll check on you soon. Hannah kissed her forehead, closed the door gently, and hurried to the front before the breakfast rush began. Suspicion. By noon, the dining area hummed. Hannah balanced plates while glancing toward the corridor that led backstage. Each time she slipped away to refill coffee, she listened for Lucy's soft humming, her signal that she was fine. Charles watched her unusual darting. He leaned against the till, eyes narrow. After lunch, he followed Hannah as she carried dirty dishes toward the kitchen. You look nervous, Hannah, he said, stepping into her path. Anything I should know? Just tired, she answered, trying to pass. He blocked her way. Let me help. He reached for the tray, but his hand brushed her arm longer than necessary. Hannah recoiled. Charles smirked, then sauntered off, though not to the dining hall. Curiosity had lit a fuse. The discovery. The next break, Hannah hurried to the storage room and found the door ajar. Her heart slammed. Charles stood inside, holding Lucy's teddy by one ear. Lucy hid behind a sack of rice, eyes wide. Well, Charles said, voice dripping with false sweetness. Now I see why you sprint around like a thief. Hannah stepped between him and the child. Put the toy down. She's frightened. He let the bear drop, brushing lint from his sleeve. Company policy forbids children on premises. Management will be very interested. She's lost, Hannah explained, keeping her tone steady. The police pushed us away. I'm only helping until we find her parents. Charles leaned closer. You want help? I can solve everything, if you do one simple thing for me. What? Become my woman. He inhaled, eyes roaming. You refuse again, and I report this. You'll be jobless by sunset, and child welfare will drag that girl to a shelter. Hannah's cheeks burned. You're married? She lifted her chin. And I will not sell my dignity. Charles's smile vanished. Have it your way. He strode out. Lucy tugged Hannah's apron. Did I do something bad? No, darling, Hannah whispered, hugging her. Some adults just forget how to be kind. Judgment. Minutes later, the restaurant's loudspeaker crackled. Hannah Joseph to the manager's office. Hannah squared her shoulders and led Lucy through the back hall. The kitchen staff stared. Rumors spread faster than boiling oil. In the small office, Mr. Okonkwo, the gray-haired owner, looked stern. Charles sat at the side, arms crossed. Charles spoke first. Sir, I discovered she's been hiding a child in our storage. Health hazard, legal risk, you know the rules. Mr. Okonkwo turned to Hannah. Is this true? Yes, sir, she answered. But let me explain. He raised a hand. You placed a minor in a room with chemicals and vermin. What if inspectors arrived? We could be shut down. Hannah clasped her hands. Lucy was alone in the rain. Police refused us. I couldn't leave her on the street. Charles snorted. Emotional stories don't erase liability. Mr. Okonkwo sighed. I respect your heart, Hannah, but policy is policy. I cannot risk fines or lawsuits. Hannah's voice trembled. Sir, you know my record. For years, never late. I'll sign any waiver. Dock my pay for safety equipment. Enough, Charles cut in. Rules apply to everyone. She endangered us. Mr. Okonkwo nodded slowly. I'm sorry, Hannah. Handing her apron. Today is your last shift. Lucy's small hand sought Hannah's. Hannah swallowed the lump in her throat. Understood, sir. She removed the green apron, folded it, and placed it on the desk. Thank you for the opportunity, she said quietly. Farewell. Staff gathered as Hannah walked out, Lucy at her side. Kola wiped his hands on a towel. Madam Hannah, this can't be. It's done, she replied, forcing a smile. Take care, big brother. Charles leaned on the doorway, a satisfied gleam in his eyes. Next time, choose wisely. Hannah met his gaze, calm as steady rain. Back doors close, front gates open. Remember that. Outside, the afternoon sun blazed. Hannah knelt to Lucy's height. We lost one place today, but not hope. Ready for a new plan? Lucy nodded, trusting her once again. Hand in hand, they stepped into the crowded street, strangers rushing past. Yet the world felt painfully still. Betrayed and jobless, Hannah vowed silently, I will protect this child, whatever it costs. Rain clattered against the rusty roof of Hannah's one-room apartment, matching the drumbeat in her chest. She sat at the plastic table, counting the last coins in her purse, barely enough for bread and water. Lucy slept fitfully on the thin mattress, a damp rag on her forehead. Sweat beaded on the child's skin. Hannah whispered to herself, Mama's chain, it's all we have left. She opened a cloth pouch and lifted the delicate gold necklace her mother had sent years ago as a blessing for city life. The tiny pendant caught the weak bulb's light, gleaming like hope itself. Hannah's eyes burned. Forgive me, Mama. She kissed the pendant once, then slipped the chain into her pocket. At the pawn shop smelled of dust and old electronics. A man with thick glasses peered at the necklace through a magnifier. Pure gold, he muttered. I'll give you 35,000. Hannah's voice barely held steady. Please, sir, at least 40. My mother, 35 or walk, he said, already writing the ticket. She nodded. All right. Coins and faded notes changed hands. Hannah tucked the money away and hurried outside, the city's humid air wrapping around her like a wet blanket. Hunger and fever. Back home, Hannah poured half a cup of rice into a dinner pot. She let the grains stretch in extra water, her secret trick to make a thin meal feel full. Lucy woke, coughing. Hannah, my head hurts, the girl whimpered. Hannah pressed a gentle palm to Lucy's hot forehead. Too warm. She spooned watery rice into a bowl, blew on it, and coaxed Lucy to eat. Just a little, Hannah said. It will make you strong. Lucy swallowed 2 mouthfuls before pushing the bowl away. Stomach hurts. Hannah hid her worry. Rest, darling. When Lucy closed her eyes, Hannah finished the leftovers, 3 spoonfuls, then drank water to quiet her own hunger. Night brought no relief. Lucy tossed and murmured, "Mommy, Daddy," in her sleep. Hannah dampened the rag again and sang a lullaby her mother once sang to her. "Stars above, watch us tonight. Give the child your gentle light." Her voice cracked halfway, but Lucy's breathing slowed, and Hannah wiped her own tears. The search for work. Days blurred together. Each morning Hannah washed her only blazer, dried it with a borrowed iron, and tied Lucy to her back with a wrapper. They boarded crowded buses that reeked of sweat and exhaust. At an upscale hotel, a receptionist eyed them. "We need someone with 5 years hospitality experience." "I have 4, Hannah offered. "And no children during shifts," the woman added, gaze fixed on Lucy's sleepy face. "Next." Hannah thanked her and left. At a supermarket, the manager frowned. "University degree? You're overqualified. You'll quit the moment you find better." "I won't," Hannah promised. "Sorry." He walked away. Lucy tugged Hannah's ear. "Why everyone say sorry?" Hannah forced a smile. "Because they don't know how powerful you and I are." By the 3rd week, the money from the necklace was gone. Hannah skipped meals, feeding Lucy pap and groundnut paste. Lucy's fever broke, but she remained weak, leaning on Hannah as they walked. The longest day, one blazing afternoon, Hannah waited 2 hours in a reception area of a small office, hoping for a clerical job. Lucy curled beside her, thumb in mouth. Finally, an assistant emerged. "Madam Joseph, the HR officer had an emergency. Interviews rescheduled next month." Hannah felt the last thread of patience snap inside her. "Next month?" she repeated, voice trembling. "I'm sorry." The assistant offered a sympathetic smile before disappearing. Hannah gathered Lucy, shoulders sagging. The long walk home began, no fare left for buses. Brown heat waves shimmered off cracked sidewalks. Lucy's steps slowed every few meters. "Hannah," the girl whispered, "carry me." Hannah lifted her, though her own legs wobbled. She whispered encouragement with each block and paused in an electronics shop to let Lucy rest. Inside the air-conditioned store, a row of TVs glowed behind the glass. The volume was low, but the news anchor's voice rose above the hum of traffic. Still no sign of 6-year-old Lucy Thompson, daughter of telecommunications tycoon Richard Thompson and fashion designer Emily Thompson. The girl disappeared from a family function 3 weeks ago. Hannah froze. "Lucy Thompson," she breathed. The screen showed a photograph. The same soft curls, the same wide brown eyes Hannah had comforted in the rain. Beside the picture flashed the words, "Reward, 10 million Nigerian nairas." Lucy looked up from Hannah's arms. "That's me," she said softly. Hannah's heartbeat thundered in her ears. "Billionaire couple?" She studied the photo again. Lucy's face was cleaner, cheeks fuller, a pink bow in her hair, but unmistakable. The reporter continued, "Anyone with information should contact the hotline below." The Thompsons plead for their daughter's safe return. A phone number scrolled across the bottom of the screen. Hannah grabbed a pen from her bag, scrawled the digits on her palm, her hand shaking. Lucy whispered, "Hannah, they know me?" "Yes, sweetheart," Hannah said, voice tight with emotion. "Those are your parents. They've been looking for you everywhere." She stepped away from the glass, mind racing. 10 million naira. Enough to clear her mother's medical debts, secure an apartment, even start a small business. But more important, Lucy would be safe, truly safe. Yet fear lingered. What if the police persecute me for hiding her? What if they believe Charles's lies? Hannah closed her eyes, taking a steadying breath. A passerby bumped her shoulder. "Sister, move. Some of us want to see the news." She realized they were blocking the sidewalk. Hannah shifted to the shade of a kiosk and crouched to meet Lucy's gaze. "Lucy," she said gently, "do you remember anything before that night? A big house? A party?" Lucy frowned. "I remember balloons and music. Mommy had shiny shoes." Hannah smiled. "Your mommy loves you very much." Lucy touched Hannah's cheek. "I love you too." The simple words pierced Hannah's heart. She hugged the child, feeling both joy and dread. A decision. Storm clouds gathered, as if the heavens mirrored Hannah's turmoil. She had to act fast. Phones cost 20 naira per minute at the roadside call center, and she had less than 50 in her purse. "Hannah, hungry," Lucy murmured. "Hold on, dear." She approached the call stall, dialing the hotline. On the second ring, a crisp female voice answered. "Thompson Family Helpline. Do you have information about Lucy?" Hannah swallowed. "Yes, she's with me. She is safe." The line crackled. "Please hold for Detective Adeyemi." A man's deep voice came on. "This is Detective Adeyemi of the Anti-Kidnap Unit." "Who am I speaking with?" "Hannah Joseph, sir. I found Lucy 3 weeks ago." "Where are you now, Miss Joseph? Is the child unharmed?" "She is fine, but weak from fever. Thank you for caring for her. Stay where you are. Officers and the family doctor will come." "And Miss Joseph, you have done something heroic today." Hannah exhaled, tears spilling. "We're near Elite Electronics, OPB Road." "Understood. Remain in a public place." She hung up. Lucy tugged her sleeve. "Who was that?" "Someone who will bring your mommy and daddy," Hannah said, lifting Lucy onto a bench under the kiosk awning. She bought a sachet of water with her last coin, toward the corner, and let Lucy drink. Minutes later, sirens wailed in the distance. Hannah's pulse hammered. People gathered, whispering. A sleek black SUV screeched to a stop, and 2 uniformed officers stepped out. A well-dressed couple followed. Emily Thompson in a cream blazer, tears already streaming, and Richard Thompson gripping her hand. "Lucy!" Emily cried. The little girl blinked, then gasped, "Mommy!" She scrambled down and ran. Emily scooped her into trembling arms. Richard wrapped them both in a hug, shoulders shaking. Hannah stood apart, heart soaring yet aching. An officer approached. "Miss Joseph?" She nodded. "Please come with us. The Thompsons want to thank you personally, and we need your statement. You are not in trouble." Hannah sat in a quiet interview room at the police headquarters, fingers laced around a mug of steaming tea. Detective Adeyemi smiled across the table. "Miss Joseph, the forensic team just confirmed Lucy's story. The kidnappers crashed while fleeing the city. In the chaos, she slipped from the wreck, wandered for hours, and finally reached that bus stop where you found her." Hannah swallowed hard. "So the people who took her are already behind bars," Adeyemi finished. "Thanks to traffic cam footage, we traced them quickly once Lucy identified their faces." He pushed a document toward her. "Your testimony closed the case." Hannah exhaled, a balloon of tension finally emptied. Thank God. Gratitude beyond words. The next afternoon, the Thompsons invited Hannah, her mother, now in Lagos for treatment, and a few journalists to their Riverside mansion. A gentle breeze carried the scent of blooming frangipani as Richard Thompson addressed the gathered press. "3 weeks ago, our world went dark," he began, voice shaking. Then Miss Hannah Joseph lit it again. Emily pulled Lucy close. "We promised a reward," she said, turning to Hannah. "Money can't buy what you risked, but we hope it eases your life." A uniformed valet drove a pearl-white compact SUV onto the driveway, ribboned in gold. Emily placed the keys in Hannah's hand. Hannah's jaw dropped. "A car? I've never even owned a bicycle." Richard chuckled. "You'll need transport where you're moving." He handed her an envelope. Inside was a lease deed, a 2-bedroom, fully furnished apartment overlooking Freedom Park on Victoria Island, paid in advance for 3 years. Hannah blinked back tears. "This is too much." "Not enough," Emily corrected gently. "Which is why we'd like you to join the Thompson Foundation for Women and Children. Full medical, profit sharing, and a salary triple what you earned before. Title: Community Outreach Coordinator." Hannah touched her heart. I studied social science, but never found a way to use it. This is my dream." Lucy tugged Hannah's sleeve. "Does that mean you'll still see me?" "Every day," Hannah whispered, hugging her. Cameras clicked, capturing the embrace. Justice for Sunshine Dine and Grill. While blessings poured on Hannah, storm clouds brewed over her old workplace. During the investigation, the police visited Sunshine Dine and Grill to verify Hannah's timeline. Several waitresses, emboldened by her courage, spoke up. Cola, the cook, glared at Charles as detectives questioned him. "He harasses staff, Cola declared. Hannah was not the first. Detective Amina folded her arms. Is that so? Another waitress produced voice notes of Charles making crude offers. Combined with Hannah's testimony, management had no choice. Mr. Okonkwo typed the letter himself. Termination for gross misconduct and sexual harassment. Charles walked out under escort, avoiding reporters clustered outside. One journalist shouted, "Mr. Morrison, any comment?" Charles covered his face. No comment. Inside the kitchen, staff cheered quietly. Cola wiped his hands. Hannah did that without a single revenge word, he told the crew. Kindness beat wickedness. A new beginning. Moving day arrived under bright Saturday sunshine. Hannah drove the SUV, still smelling of new leather, while her mother sat beside her, eyes shining with pride. "Hannah," Mama said, admiring the dashboard, "I worried when you pawned my chain. Now look at God." Hannah smiled. "First errand after the bank clears my bonus is to buy it back, with interest." They laughed together. At City Crest Apartments, uniformed movers unloaded boxes. Lucy raced down the corridor, her sneakers squeaking on polished tiles. "Hannah, come see," she called. Inside, floor-to-ceiling windows displayed a postcard view of the lagoon. A plush teal sofa faced a bookshelf already stocked with children's storybooks and legal manuals on social work. Fresh flowers filled crystal vases. Hannah's breath caught. Emily entered, carrying a welcome basket of fruits and scented candles. "Thought you might like a touch of home," she said. Hannah's mother clasped Emily's hands. "Madam, may God reward you." Emily shook her head. "It's Hannah who saved all of us." The offer of family. In the dining area, sunlight painted warm rectangles across a mahogany table set for lunch. Richard popped open a bottle of non-alcoholic sparkling wine. A toast, he declared. Glasses were raised. To Hannah, proof that one act of kindness can move mountains. They clinked. Hannah took a sip and set her glass down, tears threatening again. "I only did what anyone with a heart would do." Richard smiled. "Perhaps, but not everyone listens to their heart the way you did." Lucy hurried from her room with a drawing and crayon. Hannah standing beside a house, Emily and Richard on either side, Lucy in front holding everyone's hands. Hannah crouched. "That's beautiful." Lucy pointed at the title she'd scribbled. "My family." Emily knelt too, her voice thick. "You saved our daughter. You are family now, if you'll have us." Hannah looked around, at her mother's peaceful smile, at Richard beaming, at Lucy's hopeful eyes. Warmth spread through her chest like sunrise. "I'd be honored," she whispered. Lucy threw her arms around Hannah's neck. "Best day ever." The adults laughed softly, a circle of new bonds sealing itself in that simple hug. Epilogue on the balcony. That evening, Hannah stepped onto the balcony alone. Lagos's skyline glittered, the bridge lights, the endless traffic forming rivers of gold. Wind lifted her braids. For the first time in months, she felt neither fear nor hunger, only purpose. She bowed her head and prayed. For the Thompsons, for the women she would soon help at the foundation, for the staff still working double shifts at Sunshine Dine & Grill, for Charles to find repentance, and for Mama's health to be fully restored. Footsteps padded behind her. Lucy appeared in pajamas covered in little stars. "Can we sit together?" "Of course." Hannah wrapped an arm around her. They watched headlights blur along the expressway. Lucy whispered, "Before you found me, I was so afraid. Now I feel brave." Hannah smiled into the night. "That's because bravery is contagious. You shared yours with me, and I shared mine with you." Down below, a guitar wailed from a street cafe, the notes rising like promises. Tomorrow, Hannah would drive her new car to the foundation's downtown office, sign stacks of documents, and map out projects for shelters and vocational training. But tonight, she let the peace settle. "Sleep soon," she told Lucy. "Big adventures ahead." Lucy yawned. "Okay, Mommy Hannah." The words startled them both. Hannah's eyes shimmered. She kissed Lucy's forehead. "Good night, sweetheart." Inside, Emily watched them with quiet joy. She whispered to Richard, "I think our miracle multiplied itself." Hannah ushered Lucy back indoors and closed the balcony doors. She turned for one last look at the city, the city that broke her, the city that raised her again. The moon hung full above the lagoon, a silver coin impossible to spend, but perfect to treasure. And in that soft lunar glow, Hannah Joseph finally believed what everyone else already knew. Kindness may be tested by cruelty, but when fate replays the balance, kindness wins.